Next, let's talk about how to create a guide by copying the layout and content from an existing guide. I will say that while it may sound like the easier route, it can be, but what you're doing essentially when you copy a guide and its content, you're copying a template, right, that I created. But because you as a student will be responsible for all of the content that's added or that exists in that guide, you'll have to go back and remove boxes. You'll have to remove content and then rebuild the guide. So that can get a little bit complicated, and I'll show you what that looks like. So let's create our guide using existing content, copy content. We're going to choose local guides, right? That's guides within our network. And let's use my existing side navigation layout. This is the Selena Quintanilla library. This is the most important step in copying content. You must copy assets as well. That means you're duplicating all pages, boxes, and content instead of just mirroring it. By copying assets, you're able to manipulate them better. And let's say I decide to delete my Selena Quintanilla library. If you don't check this box, everything in your guide will be deleted because it's a mirror, right, of my content. So, very important. If you're going to copy content, local guides, I'm choosing side navigation because that's the layout I want to use for the final. We're going to definitely copy assets. And then you would be putting in your name. I'm going to put in copied version just to make that clear for everyone. General purpose, do not assign to a group, and we're going to make this community. So let's create that guide and take a look at what it looks like. Ta-da! It's exactly like the guide that I had created for you all previously. Exactly. Same colors. I adjusted my colors so that the active page is a slightly darker purple. Well, inactive pages I'm not looking at in the moment are more of a magenta. Right? So this is how you know you created an exact copy. You'll see the same colors, the same boxes, the same photos, all of that stuff. Same books. Okay, so that may seem to be pretty easy, right? All done, but not exactly, and especially not for the LibGuide setup assignment. The purpose of the LibGuide setup assignment is to ensure that all students in the class have the building blocks for what they need to really start developing their own LibGuide. So using the existing content that I have on this guide would not meet the requirements of that assignment or the final. So what we would need to do in the case of using a copied LibGuide is go back and do a bunch of cleanup, okay? While I'll say this, we're all going to have the same homepage, right? So that's okay. I don't mind if you use language like about the library, right? You could use about us or just about for an about page. If someone uses our services, I understand. That's okay. Or just services will do. But if I see a fourth tab that says garment collection, that's going to signal to me that the student did not go back and clean up these tabs. to match their dream library. So next, I'm going to show you the only asset that is going to be acceptable to maintain as a copied asset in your copied LibGuide. And I'm going to show you how to clean up all of these boxes. You can keep them where they are, but we definitely need to change things like the name of the box. We'll be removing photos and written things like the mission statement and values. What I'm trying to say here is if this is not something that you produce, then it needs to be removed. The goal here is really to provide you with a template for the LibGuide that meets the requirements for our assignment. So first of all, this box that I created to share new books at the Selena Quintanilla Library, we're just going to get rid of it. So up here on the top of new books, we're going to use this X to delete the box. Click I understand this cannot be undone and get rid of it. In the future, we'll talk about how you can add books like that from the catalog to display on your LibGuide. Now this is the one box, right, that you can keep. And that is whether you copied a LibGuide or you started fresh, you can definitely use this box. So we'll keep that there. Now for this box on the home page, we need to change the title of the box, and then we need to remove the photo and the written content here. So I do want to start using the language that LibGuide uses to describe what is contained in a box, and that is called an asset, okay? So to outright remove this photo of Selena, we're going to use this pencil and paper or post-it icon and just completely delete and remove. You'll see here the language, are you sure you want to delete this asset from your site? We do. Click I understand and delete. Now that gives you space to add an image that represents your library. Under mission statement, we can use the same, well, it's a different pencil and pad. That's going to open up our rich text editor, and we're going to remove this text. I do believe that everyone's going to have a mission statement on their library website. So if you leave the words mission statement in this box, that's okay. But I will have everyone remove the box for values, the asset rather. Okay, so it's looking pretty clean now, except there's something on here that I didn't change. And this is where your attention to detail, to make sure you're going back and editing everything to represent your library, really comes into play. We did not change the title of this box here. It should not say welcome to Selena Quintanilla Library when you're ready to submit your LibGuide setup assignment. So to edit that, we're going to use this pencil at the top of the box. And here you can change the title of the box to whatever you want to call your library right now. It doesn't even have to have the official name. You can just use My Dream Library. The important part here is that it is not what I originally created. So the home page is looking pretty good. We have a welcome box that will contain the mission statement, which is a requirement for the assignment. And then we have this extra box for browse our collections, which I don't mind if you leave that there. You'll have to go through every tab and remove the content I created if you are looking to copy my LibGuide starters. This includes the garment collection page, right? Because even if you already had the idea of including some kind of a fashion exhibit or costume displays, right? You will need to change this language just to signal to me that you didn't just forget to change this title. So to change the titles of any of your pages, what we need to find is the settings for the page, which is right up here, right? So we're on the garment collection page. We're going to open this up and click on page properties. This is where you'll see the option to change the title of the box to something like special feature. That can be like the stand-in language that you want to use if you haven't decided what the special feature of your library will be. So that might be a special collection, it might be performances, it might be exhibitions, things like that. So we'll just do special feature. Save that. You see the change. And because these two boxes are no longer relevant, we can just delete them. Okay, so this is the kind of cleanup you'll have to do if you do choose to go the copy route, okay? So I hope that everybody was able to watch this video all the way through, because what we did with the copied version of the LibGuide is practice a lot of editing, right? Removing boxes, removing specific content, changing titles of pages, changing the written work in some of those boxes. And so I think that's going to be valuable to anyone, whether you're copying content or starting from scratch, because you might need to go back and change things as the project moves along. So it really is up to you based on what you've seen in this video. Would you rather start from just having a home page and building up? Or would you like to start with a bit more content and then break that down and edit so that you can rebuild that with your content, right? Whatever makes the most sense to you is going to be the best choice. And I'll be here every step of the way to answer your questions, just in case you forget how to change a page title or how to delete contents without deleting the whole box. We'll continue working on this as we move through the weeks, and I'll be adding additional videos, including things like how to change the colors, for example, on your navigation menu, and how to add photos, right? Some of the more design elements. So you'll definitely get a video on a couple of those different tasks very shortly, okay? Thanks for watching. Bye.